So, well, I understand that you got into an adult literacy program later on in life. How did that come about, and what was it like?
Well, the reason why I ended up in an adult reading program, when I got out of school, I went to work for a meatpacking plant, and they, you really didn't need to know how to read there. If you could work fast with your hands, you did well, and you made a decent wage, and you could support your family. And I did. I got married and had a daughter, and we got along fine. But after I worked there for about 31 years, and I was just 50-some years old, and there was a notice that the plant was going to close. Well, I was very frustrated because my daughter was just a senior in high school then, and how am I going to support my daughter? Well, because I had some friends that had friends that were in the insurance business, I got interviewed, and I got a job to work as an insurance adjuster. I still don't know how to read and spell very well, and so I went to the adult literacy program at Iowa Central Community College in Fort Dodge, and told them my problem, that I have this job, I need this job because I need to support my family, and I want my daughter to be able to go to college, and so I said, can you help me? I said, I don't have time to spend just working on sounds and phonics. I need help now. I need help on how to function on this job. Well, they said, we'll do the best we can, and we'll try to help you. So I had a wonderful tutor. Her name was Maxine Thomas, and she was a former adult education director at Iowa Central Community College, and she had never tutored anybody before. But she was bound and determined that she was going to help me succeed in life. And so she would act like she had an insurance claim, and then we would talk about it. And I was actually hired, and I was actually working on the job, and I had the forms, and so we would actually go through this case that insurance claim that she had, and she would, we would actually fill it out and go through the whole thing. And then all of a sudden I started to develop confidence to work on the job as an insurance adjuster. And another thing we did, we practiced spelling words that were used a lot in insurance. So as the months went by, I got better, and I got better in the job. And I started to feel very comfortable on the job. And then if we had any time left, we did work on the sounds and the phonics. And now we stayed, I stayed there and worked with her for 2.5 years. And I can remember the first day I went there. It was in October of 1984. And I remember I bought a new shirt and a new pair of slacks to go into class, and I drove over to Iowa Central Community College from where I live in Eagle Grove, Iowa, because I could have been tutored in Eagle Grove, but I didn't want to be tutored in Eagle Grove because I didn't want people to know that I was going to a tutoring program. So I insisted that it be done at Iowa Central Community College. Well, when I drove over for the first time, I drove by the building that the program was in, and I drove by, and I drove around, and then I drove by again, and I did that 3 times. And finally, my daughter was a senior in high school at the time, and my wife, and I promised them that I would go, and said to myself, if I go by one more time, I'll probably turn around and go home, so I better go in. So I did. And I went in, and people were so nice. They helped me, just talked to me. They were so friendly. All the secretaries and everybody, they just went out of their way to make me feel comfortable. And then Maxine and I, we just talked, and then we tried the sound of it and do a little reading and things. And I was there an hour and a half, and when I walked out of that room, it looked like I'd been working out in a gymnasium. I was wringing wet with sweat. It was that hard. And I can remember sometimes after I'd have a session, I'd go home, and it was so much work trying to read and spell, and that I would have to go home and I'd have to take a nap because I was just mentally drained. I was so tired. But one of the things I thought after the first few times I went over there, I thought to myself, we've got people like myself, we've got to tell people what it's like, and so they can understand it. Because we don't need people that young kids have to sit in the back of the room and feel bad about themselves. And anything I can do, I'm going to try to change. And I actually thought I was going to change the whole world, one person, and change the understanding. But maybe I've made a little scratch somewhere, but I feel good about some of the things I had the opportunity to do.